All right, we're getting ready to begin Unit 2, Lesson 2. So some of you may have already skipped Lesson 1 if you did well enough on the pretest. So we're diving right into Lesson 2, which is over solving linear equations using inverse operations. So in 8th grade and even in 7th grade and a little bit in 6th grade, you practiced using inverse operations, which is like reversing or undoing an equation to solve for a given variable. So in exercise 1, moving straight into it, we've got the equation 5x plus 3 is equal to 23. It says in part A, it says list the operations that have been done to variable x. So when you're solving an equation, you have to consider what does the equation say that is being done so that you can then undo it. So if the equation is 5x plus 3 equals 23, and x is what we're concerned with, trying to get x by itself, well, it's being multiplied by 5, and it's having a 3 added to it. So those are your operations that are being done to the letter x. All right, now we're going to solve that equation by reversing what has been done to x. So we're going to undo addition, and then we're going to undo multiplication using inverse operations. So the inverse of addition is to subtract. Let me go ahead and copy this equation down again. 5x plus 3 equals 23. So in order to undo it, we're going to go in reverse order. We're going to subtract, and we're going to divide. So subtract 3 to undo adding 3. Remember what you learned back in middle school, that whatever you do to one side of this equal sign, you do to the other. So subtract 3 on both sides. The point of subtracting 3 here is to cancel that out. That's going to leave you with 5x equals 23 minus 3 is 20. Then we're going to undo the multiplication of 5 by dividing. So divide by 5, and we get x equals 4. That's a basic two-step equation, practicing there with undoing the operations that are in the problem. Let's look now at the next section. Let me clear out. There we go. All right, so in the next section, it says, if the variable you're solving for shows up only once, identify the operations that have been done on it and reverse them in the opposite order in which they occur. So on A and B here, they want you to first write down what is being done, what are the operations being done, and then you're going to solve them by reversing them. I'm going to insert a question here and have you work these problems out on your notes for you to then put into the questions that are attached to this video. Okay, so you should be finished working the equations in exercise 2, and we'll check your work on those after you've finished your notes. Exercise 3 is dealing with the fact that sometimes you have more than one option when it comes to solving an equation. So we're going to solve this same equation here in exercise 3 two different ways. First, by reversing the operations that are in the equation, and then using the distributive property first. Either of these methods should get the same result. It's just two different ways of looking at the problem. So for the first set, example A, we have distributing of -2, which we know distributive property is just multiplication. So I'm going to list the operations. So first we have multiply. Then we've got subtract. Then we have addition. So we're going to go in reverse order to undo this. So starting at the bottom and going up. So to reverse these, first we have to get rid of the addition. So subtract 8. That's going to leave us with -2 parentheses x minus 4 close parentheses equals 2 minus 8 is -6. All right, so we've dealt with the add. Now we need to deal with the subtract. The problem with that is that the subtract is locked into this set of parentheses. So I have to actually skip subtract and undo multiplication. I got to get rid of this -2. So to undo multiplication, we divide by -2. That's going to cancel that out and get x minus 4 equals -6 divided by -2 is +3. So now I'm done with the multiplication, getting rid of that, and now I can get rid of the subtract 4 because it's outside of the parentheses now. Opposite of subtract is to add 4. Those cancel out, and so we get x equals 3 plus 4 is 7. I'm going to pause the video again and insert a question. I want you to solve this same equation, but instead of doing it where I got rid of the distributing, I want you to distribute that -2 first and then solve. You should still get x equals 7. So I'll attach a question and then you guys will attach your work to that. All right, exercise 4, it says we should also be prepared to use inverse operations to solve problems where we must translate from verbal descriptions to equations. So we ended unit 1 with translating verbal descriptions into algebraic expressions. So let's pick back up on that right here in exercise 4. So we have 10 less than 5 times a number results in 35. Question, what is the number? So we're going to set up the equation by translating these words into algebraic symbols and numbers and then solve. All right, so 10 less than. We have learned in the past that less than is a subtraction word that means to reverse the order. So 10 less than actually means minus 10. Then we've got 5 times a number. A number always is your clue for your variable. So 5 times a number, that's going to be 5x. But that 5x is going to go in front of that minus sign. And then we've got results in. Results in is an equal sign phrase, and it's 35. So equals 35. So let's set up our equation now that we've translated each piece of that sentence. So we have 5x minus 10 equals 35. All right, so solve this. We're going to undo the operations, always getting rid of addition or subtraction before multiplication because we're doing operations in reverse order. So to undo minus 10, we add 10 to both sides. That gives us 5x equals 35 plus 10 is 45. And then to undo 5x, which means multiplication, we're going to divide by 5. So x is equal to 45 divided by 5, which is 9. Okay, you guys try part B, and I'll attach a question here in the video for you to show your work and see what you get. After you've worked